hypochlorite disinfection for our CT compliance, settled water chlorination. It didn't address anything to do with that. It didn't address CT or an interruption. So say, for instance, an operator has his hypochlorite pump dies, it fails. How long does he have to investigate that problem, resolve it, and get it back running again before he needs to say, you know what, time, I need to shut the plant down. So now the operators know specifically how long they can address a problem before they need to shut it down. So really, we've improved the kind of procedures that we have. I have here the ammonia feed system SOP. Really, this is just a template, but I wanted to show you up in the right-hand corner there this checklist for the review process. It's important that all of our procedures that are approved for use go through this process. Initially, we had safety reviewing all of our procedures, but then we kind of came up with this boilerplate language. And if additional facts need to be added because of that particular procedure, we can add them. Or if we think we need safety's input, then we'll actually contact them to do this. But they gave us this boilerplate language and then a checklist that we could use to ensure that all of our procedures were going to meet the regulatory requirements when it comes to safety. We also have procedures that are not required by the Department of Public Health. We do not send those in with the operations plan. They become a part of the training plan for the operators. And so retailer notification, the Department of Public Health doesn't really care how we contact our retailers. It's not something that they stipulate, so we're not going to give them. Other procedures like discharges, unplanned or planned, those kind of procedures are important to the Regional Water Quality Control Board, but they're really not important to the Department of Public Health as far as surface water quality and in treatment. The current operations plan for the Del Val treatment plant and the Patterson Pass treatment plant is 16 pages. It's made up of 27 elements. For instance, one element is the chemical feed system monitoring and control. And then it references the 15 to 18 procedures that are involved with your chemical system, your chemical feed systems. We send in revisions on an annual basis to the Department of Health. And when we think about the operations plan, as I said initially, I'd been involved in a process where we were looking at developing a training manual for all our facilities. And then a year later, we're coming up and we're redesigning it. We're redoing it based on the regulatory requirement to have an operations plan. So how does it become a manual? How do we use it? Well, we have several hard copies. We have a shared drive where there's an SOP library or procedure library where all the operators from different sites can access it. When it comes to training, our training involves both mentoring with operators who are journey level operators and also supervisors. And if you think about the training with mentoring, you know, a lot of facilities have done that. And that's the way I came up. You spend 3 months on shift, on the day shift, you're with the operator, and you're supposed to kind of mysteriously absorb all the knowledge that he has gained over the last 10 or 15 years. And then, of course, after 3 months, you're good to go. They put you on shift. Well, you run into problems. For instance, before I became a supervisor, we had a situation where our production manager was very upset at one employee because he shut the plant down in an emergency and he didn't follow the procedure. Well, the part he didn't follow was he didn't isolate the pressure ammoniator. Now, ammonia is hydrophilic, it's water-loving, anhydrous ammonia. So the water actually pulled up from the pipe where it was discharged all the way up into the ammoniator and put us out of business for a while. So management, one particular manager, was very upset by that. the reality is, how was this operator trained? He spent 3 months working with another operator who taught him what he thought was important. There was no curriculum. And then when he was doing this emergency shutdown, he didn't really, he looked at that situation, he said, there's no reason to isolate that, it's just going to be a temporary shutdown, which was completely reasonable. But what if he had a curriculum? What if he actually participated in a shutdown? Wouldn't he have asked, well, why are we closing those valves? So mentoring alone really isn't good enough. We need to have a curriculum, and our operations plan has become that curriculum. It's what we use to train the operators. They need to understand the procedures. They need to demonstrate that they can follow them. So as a supervisor, I'll assign the trainee to cover a certain portion of the training plan. He knows what procedures he needs to discuss with his mentor. And then when he feels that he's gotten to the point where it's covered, then he can go ahead under operator initial there, he can initial it, he understands it, that he's gone through it, he's demonstrated to his own satisfaction and to the mentor's satisfaction that he is trained on that procedure. Now he's got to show it to me. And so depending on the kind of procedure it is, the supervisors are now involved in going through making certain that this individual understands the procedure and knows how to successfully implement the procedure. Zone 7 does not have the resources right now to have a training coordinator. It certainly would be a beautiful thing to be able to have, or a training supervisor. That would be ideal. But it has to rest on somebody, and if you're the supervisor of a facility, you want to feel confident that you're going to have your people trained, that when they're on shift in the middle of the night, they will be able to make decisions based on their training that are going to benefit water quality and the customers that we serve. So we've actually used this operations plan, 16 pages, referencing all of our procedures that the Department of Public Health requires. We've used that as something that not only is of use to explain to the Department of Public Health how we operate, but then in turn, we use it to train our staff in-house, the operations staff. And we found that it's been truly beneficial. Lessons learned, we really believe that if you're going to make or tie in your procedures to a legal document, the quality of that is going to be outstanding. And we feel confident that ours are. Not that they're perfect, and procedures are a living document, they're changing all the time. That's why every year we're sending in revised copies. It's a time-intensive process. If you have supervisors that, they're involved, say, in training 2 people, well, how are they going to write all these procedures or revise all these procedures? So you have to make sure that you buy out the time for them so that they can be successful and develop procedures that are going to be beneficial. We're now completing our 5th facility. We haven't needed a consultant. We got on board with the first treatment facility, and after that we were good. And we absolutely believe that the training of our operations staff has been enhanced considerably because, 1, the quality of the procedures, and 2, the training that we are giving on this operation training plan. So, Rich Gould, Water System Superintendent. I'm Rick Anderson. I'm the Del Val Facility Supervisor. And I don't know whether we have time for questions.